latest prosecution of the former director of the FBI. There's a process to secure an indictment. There's a process of predication, having some evidence before you do that. And again, I only know what I see myself in the media, but the career prosecutors, the apolitical prosecutors who analyzed this said there wasn't a case. And so they brought somebody in who had never been a criminal prosecutor on days' notice to secure an indictment a day before the statute of limitations ended. That just reeks of lack of process. And I think a lot of Americans do not see this as a political issue. Process shouldn't be a political issue, right? Like if there's rules in the department about how to bring a case, follow those rules. You can't say, I want this outcome, let me throw the rules out. That's why, frankly, you see all these conflicts between the career apolitical prosecutors I worked with, because they're being asked to do things that they think are wrong. And because they're not political people, they're not going to do them. And I think that explains why you've seen the resignations, you've seen people leave the department. It's not because they're enemies of one administration or the next. They've worked through decades for different administrations. It's just they've been doing things apolitically forever. And when they're told, no, you got to get this outcome no matter what, that is so contrary to how we were all raised as prosecutors. I think that's been the center of all the conflict.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me today. We begin with a deeply troubling development in the Department of Justice. Another career public servant pushed out for doing their job with integrity and independence. This time, it's Beth Jussi, also known as Elizabeth Jussi, former head of the Major Crimes Division in the Eastern District of Virginia. Her career, once dedicated to justice, is now another casualty of political interference under Donald Trump's administration. Beth Jussi reportedly informed her superiors that she could not, in good faith, recommend the indictment of New York Attorney General Letitia James. After reviewing the case centered around a second home, purchased with fully disclosed paperwork, Jussi concluded there was no crime. The bank knew the property was a second residence, and the legal documentation, handled by her niece under power of attorney, showed no evidence of fraud. That should have been the end of it. But in this DOJ career, prosecutors making apolitical, evidence-based decisions are no longer safe. Jussi was fired shortly after her conclusion became known, proof that integrity can cost you your job. This echoes what Special Counsel Jack Smith recently emphasized. Career prosecutors are supposed to be politically agnostic. Their job is to follow the facts and the law, not political marching orders. When that foundation is broken, when outcomes are dictated before investigations even begin, we lose the very essence of what makes justice blind. Smith noted that many experienced prosecutors are leaving or being pushed out not because of politics, but because they refuse to violate their ethical standards. They're told to get a predetermined result, and when they say no, they're replaced. To those still in the DOJ, let this be a reminder. The truth still matters, and there are people watching, listening, and standing with you.